Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into the murky, often baffling world of megaprojects. Now I know what you're thinking. Megaprojects sounds exciting. And sure, some are. But then there are others. Projects so spectacularly ill-conceived, so mind-bogglingly useless, that they make you wonder if someone, somewhere, spun a giant wheel of bad ideas and just went with whatever it landed on. These, my friends, are the projects we're here to dissect. Get ready to explore the concrete jungles of ambition gone awry, where billions of dollars evaporate like rainwater in the desert. Let's get started. North Korea, a land known for its... well, that's a longer conversation. But today we're talking about a building, a really tall building. The Ryugyong Hotel, a 105-story pyramid of ambition that's been under construction since 1987. That's right, 1987. It's old enough to rent a car, vote, and probably join AARP. Originally intended to be a shining symbol of North Korea's economic might, the Ryugyong Hotel has become something else entirely, a towering monument to unfulfilled promises. Construction stalled multiple times due to, you guessed it, economic woes, and for years it stood empty, a concrete ghost haunting the Pyongyang skyline. There were attempts to finish it, of course. They put glass on it at one point, which honestly feels like putting lipstick on a pig made of concrete and disappointment. But even now, after all these years, the Ryugyong Hotel remains unfinished, a potent symbol of, well, something. We're just not sure what. From one empty giant structure to another, let's hop over to Dongguan, China, home to the new South China Mall. Now this place is truly massive, sprawling enough to fit like 200 football fields inside. It was supposed to be a shopper's paradise, a temple to consumerism so vast it would make your credit card spontaneously combust. Except there was one small problem. Almost no one showed up. You see, building a mall in the middle of nowhere, far from any major city, turns out to be a less than stellar business strategy. Who knew? So for years, the new South China Mall stood eerily empty, a retail wasteland with more tumbleweeds, metaphorical tumbleweeds I assume, than shoppers. It became a bit of a tourist attraction though, because who doesn't love a bit of irony with their overpriced souvenirs? Buckle up folks, because we're heading to Spain, a country not exactly known for its useless megaprojects. But even Spain, it seems, isn't immune to the siren song of a terrible idea. Enter Ciudad Real Central Airport. This billion-euro airport was supposed to be a gateway to tourism, a bustling hub of international travel. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about what happens when you build something no one needs. You see, someone forgot to factor in the whole demand for air travel thing when planning this place. So it opened to much fanfare in 2009 and then... crickets. A few flights trickled in, but for the most part, the airport remained eerily quiet. It became a favorite spot for filming apocalyptic movies though, because nothing says the end is nigh, like an empty airport terminal echoing with the ghosts of flights never taken. After limping along for a few years, the airport finally closed its doors in 2012, a billion-euro monument to the perils of over-optimism. Let's be honest, when it comes to ambitious, some might say excessive construction projects, Dubai is in a league of its own. But even by Dubai's standards, the Palm Jumeirah is something else. This man-made island, shaped like a giant palm tree, because of course it is visible from space. It's got luxury villas, fancy hotels, and enough man-made beachfront to make a Florida developer weep with envy. But beneath the glitz and glamour, there's a darker side to the palm. The environmental impact of dredging up millions of tons of sand and rock to create this artificial island has been, shall we say, significant. And then there are the financial woes. Turns out building a luxury playground for the ultra-wealthy in the middle of a global recession isn't exactly a recipe for financial stability. Who could have predicted that? So, while the Palm Jumeirah might look impressive from a distance, up close, it's a reminder that even the most audacious projects can have unintended consequences. Remember the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi? Of course you don't, because unless you're a die-hard curling fan, it's probably faded from memory like a bad dream. But what hasn't faded are the billions of dollars worth of facilities now standing mostly empty and unused. See, building a bunch of specialized sports venues for a 2-week event in a place that doesn't really need them afterwards? Well, that's not exactly the soundest financial planning. So now, Sochi's Olympic legacy is a collection of crumbling stadiums, overgrown fields, and a lingering sense of what was the point. It's a common story, really. From Beijing to Rio, Olympic host cities often find themselves saddled with debt and decaying infrastructure long after the athletes have gone home. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's a better way to do this whole Olympics thing. Imagine a city of the future, a technological marvel rising from the sea, a shining example of sustainable urban living. Now stop imagining, because that's not what we're talking about. This is Forest City, Malaysia, a planned smart city that's become more of a cautionary tale than a futuristic utopia. The idea was ambitious, if a bit vague. Build 4 artificial islands off the coast of Malaysia and turn them into a high-tech, environmentally friendly metropolis. But things haven't quite gone to plan. Construction has been plagued by delays, legal challenges, and accusations of environmental damage. The target market, mostly wealthy Chinese investors, hasn't exactly been rushing in to snap up properties. The whole thing has become a bit of a PR nightmare, a cautionary tale about the dangers of overpromising and under-delivering. The future of Forest City remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: it's not the utopian vision it was cracked up to be. Germany. A land known for its efficiency, precision engineering, and... Wait, hold on, we're getting word that this next story involves a German airport that took nearly a decade longer to open than planned? Well, color me shocked. This is Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, a project so riddled with delays, budget overruns, and technical mishaps that it became a national embarrassment. What went wrong? Oh, just a few minor issues like faulty fire safety systems, escalators that were too short, and a CEO who was forced to resign amid allegations of corruption. The whole thing became a running joke, a symbol of bureaucratic incompetence and the perils of over-engineered infrastructure projects. But hey, at least it finally opened, right? Eventually. After nearly a decade of delays and billions of euros over budget. Imagine, if you will, a highway so controversial, so expensive, and so environmentally damaging that it sparks protests, legal battles, and even accusations of cultural desecration. No, this isn't a scene from a Michael Bay film. This is the story of Interstate H-3 in Hawaii. This 15-mile stretch of highway, carved through the Koolau Mountains, was supposed to alleviate traffic congestion in Honolulu. Instead, it became a textbook example of how not to build a road. Construction was plagued by landslides, cost overruns, and fierce opposition from native Hawaiian groups who argued that the highway would desecrate sacred land. Despite protests and legal challenges, the highway was eventually completed, but not without leaving a trail of bitterness and environmental scars. It remains a controversial project, a reminder that sometimes progress comes at a steep price. Remember that time Canada tried to build a super airport that ended up being a colossal waste of money and space? No? Well, buckle up, because this is the story of Mirabel International Airport, a monument to misplaced ambition and the perils of overestimating air travel demand. Built in the 1970s, Mirabel was supposed to be Montreal's answer to Heathrow or JFK, a global aviation hub that would put the city on the map. But there was one small problem. Airlines weren't exactly lining up to use the place. It was too far from the city, too expensive to operate, and frankly, there just wasn't enough demand to justify its existence. So Mirabel slowly descended into a kind of aviation purgatory, a ghost airport with more tumbleweeds than passengers. It became a popular spot for filming apocalyptic movies because nothing says the end is nigh like an eerily empty airport terminal. After years of limping along, Mirabel finally closed to passenger flights in 2004, a $1 billion reminder that even the best-laid plans can go horribly, hilariously wrong. The Millennium Dome, that giant white Teflon-coated monument to the year 2000 a year that, if you recall, was supposed to usher in a new era of peace, prosperity, and flying cars. Spoiler alert, it didn't. And neither did the dome live up to the hype. Built at a cost of nearly £800 million, the dome was supposed to be a showcase for British innovation and creativity. Instead, it became a giant empty space filled with underwhelming exhibits and a distinct lack of anything even remotely resembling a flying car. The whole thing was widely ridiculed as a waste of money and a prime example of New Labour's penchant for grandiose, poorly conceived projects. The dome did eventually find a new life as a concert venue and entertainment complex, but it remains a potent symbol of the dangers of millennial hype and the perils of building something without a clear purpose. So, there you have it, a whirlwind tour of some of the most spectacularly useless megaprojects ever conceived. From empty malls to abandoned airports, these concrete behemoths stand as testaments to the hubris of humanity and our uncanny ability to pour billions of dollars into projects that make very little sense. But hey, at least they make for interesting stories, right? And who knows, maybe we can learn from these mistakes and avoid repeating them in the future. Or maybe not. Humanity has a long and storied history of ignoring the lessons of the past. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time.